What if I told you the most dominant running back in the college football playoff last year wasn't in the Heisman race? What if I told you he set a playoff rushing record and almost single-handedly carried Miami to a national championship by himself? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Draft Yoda, where we're data-driven and prospect-focused. I am Draft Yoda, Bill Workman himself. I'm your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd, and today we're talking about one of the most physical running backs in college football. Miami Hurricanes running back Mark Fletcher Jr. Okay? Fletcher is currently carrying a 9.10 grade in my 10-point scale, making him my number 26 overall prospect and my number 3 running back. Entering the 2026 season behind Ahmad Hardy from Missouri and Ole Miss's Kenyon Lacey. And honestly, if we're talking about postseason football, there's a strong argument that nobody's better than Mark Fletcher Jr. Because while Hardy and Lacey dominated throughout the regular season, Mark Fletcher became a monster in the playoffs. 507 rushing yards, a college football playoff record, multiple dominant performances against elite defenses, and the national audience suddenly realized what Miami fans already knew. Mark Fletcher Jr. is a problem. Unlike some of the underdog stories we've discussed already, Fletcher arrived with plenty of hype. Coming out of American Heritage in Florida, Fletcher was one of the most sought-after running backs in the country. 4-star recruit, state champion, max prep, sophomore All-American, and I'm fairly certain he held an offer from almost every major program in America. I know Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State all wanted him. He decided to stay local and stay with Miami. And the Hurricanes believed they found their future back. And by God, they did. The talent was obvious immediately. Even as a freshman, Fletcher led Miami in carries despite missing multiple games. That tells you how highly this coaching staff thought of him. When he was healthy, the football found him. The following year, he started in the backfield with Damian Martinez and still produced. 600 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 5.4 yards carry, I believe. Multi-touchdown performances against Florida and Syracuse. He wasn't the centerpiece yet. Not completely, but that changed in 2025. 2025, he had 216 carries, 1,192 yards, 12 rushing touchdowns, and 842 yards after contact in 14 games. And a college football playoff run that changed his reputation nationally. The production wasn't just good, it was reliable. Every week, Miami knew exactly what it was getting. A physical runner, a dependable runner, a runner capable of carrying an offense. This is where the evaluation gets fun because Fletcher just didn't play well in the playoffs. He dominated. Let's go game by game. Texas A&M, 17 carries, 172 yards. Texas A&M was considered one of the best defenses in the country, and Fletcher ran through them like it was butter. Then came Ohio State, biggest game of Miami's season. It's a quarterfinal. What Fletcher do? Responded with an offensive MVP performance. The stage got bigger, his performance got bigger. Then Ole Miss, 133 rushing yards, another playoff win, another dominant outing, another defense that couldn't stop him. Oh, and then the national championship game where he put up 112 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, including a 57-yard scoring run. Even in a losing effort against Indiana, Fletcher proved he belonged among the best players in college football. And by the time the playoff ended, he had rushed for 507 yards in the playoff. That's the most ever recorded in college football playoff history. I understand the playoff's young, but that is going to be a record that is going to be tough to beat. First thing I love about him is his size. Roughly 225, Fletcher already looks like an NFL running back. He's the biggest back among the top runners on my board, and he uses his size because defenders feel it when they tackle him. Second thing I love is his contact balance. 842 yards after contact. It tells a story. It isn't a back relying on wide open lanes. It isn't. It's a back that creates extra yardage. Running through arm tackles, breaking contact, finishing runs. That's NFL football. The third thing I love about him, and it's probably the thing that most scouts are going to look at and just fall in love with, especially offensive scouts for teams, it's his ability to handle the volume. A lot of big backs wear down. It felt like Fletcher just got stronger every time he touched the ball. As the season progressed, his best football arrived when Miami needed it the most. The lights got bigger, he got stronger. And that's a trait that is going to hold a lot of value with scouts. What separates him from most backs is that he combines power with legitimate speed. Most runners his size are bruisers. Fletcher can also hit home runs. That 57-yard touchdown in the national championship game is a prime example of that. When he gets into space, he's not easy to catch. And at his size, that's a rare combination. Nobody's perfect, though. We'll say that every time. There's always going to be stuff that we can improve on. And for Mark, the biggest issue is the receiving game. 4 drops on 22 targets isn't ideal. His route tree is limited, and right now, he's not a natural pass catcher. Some of that may be Miami's offense. Some of that may be the quarterback that was throwing him the football. He's got an improvement at quarterback this season, so let's see if the placement gets better and his pass catching gets better. Second issue with him is pass pro. Honestly, it might be the most surprising weakness for a back to his size and strength. You'd expect him to be dominant in protection. Instead, his film is inconsistent, and that has to improve. If you want to be a 3-down back, you have to be able to compete as a pass protection piece. You can't just be running routes. You can't just be running downhill, carrying the workload. You have to be able to block as well. And the third concern is the workload. It's not a criticism of the player. It's a reality of the position. His body already has a ton of mileage. He's carried the football a ton. And NFL teams will monitor that and may hold it against him. But let's talk about the obvious question, why RB3 if I'm so excited about him? And it's simple. Right now, Hardy is the most complete runner. Lacey is the most productive touchdown scorer. Fletcher sits right behind them because the passing down value still needs to develop. The gap isn't massive. I think it's literally, I'm looking at the board right now, it is 0.03 difference between him being RB3 and RB1. If he improves his receiving game, he's going to catch them, and he's going to catch them quickly. That's probably the biggest question, is can he catch the 2 running backs ahead of him and become RB1? And the answer is absolutely. The playoff tape alone gives him a chance to do that. Very few running backs have ever produced the way he did against the elite competition. If he continues to improve as a receiver and as a pass protector in 2026, he becomes a much more complete running back prospect, and that gap between RB1 and RB3 becomes so razor thin that it's very easy for him to get that high. That's why this season is so important for all these running backs. But, I have him in 9.10 out of 10, my number 26 overall prospect, my number 3 running back, and truly one of the most physical runners in college football. I think he's a future NFL starter. I think he's one of the toughest backs in his class. I think his playoff performance shows exactly why NFL scouts are going to be excited, and NFL offensive coordinators are going to love the chance to get Mark Fletcher Jr. If the passing down develops, it's the final piece. It's his final infinity stone before he goes full Thanos and just starts crushing people. But that's my board, What do you think of Mark Fletcher Jr.? Should he be higher than RB3? Was his playoff run as impressive as I think it is? Where do you have him among the running backs in college football? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoy these player evaluations, they're built around film and analytics. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to keep putting in the work. We're going to get to 100 prospects before college football kicks off this season. I am Draft Yoda, Bill Workman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd, and I'll see you guys next time.